Just want to kind of go over a little bit of who I am and where I'm from and that type of thing. My name is Kevin Engelke. I grew up in Medford. In fact, I graduated from Shawnee High School in 1977, back when the school was basically half the size of what it is now. And it's really been kind of cool to see how the school has changed over the years. After I graduated, I got married and we had 2 kids and we moved back to Medford. And we moved to Tamarack in Medford. And I have 2 children, Ryan, who graduated Shawnee in 2008, and Kristen, who graduated in 2009. Both Ryan and Kristen attended here, and Ryan was a pretty decent student, and Kristen was a decent student and a decent athlete. Kristen went to Quinnipiac University up in Connecticut, and she graduated with an MBA up there, and she's living and working in Boston right now. Ryan's your typical boy. And Ryan, I want to say, lived a pretty good life. So did Kristen. We were very, very fortunate to live in a community and have the wherewithal to do a lot of different things. Ryan was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with his grandmother down the shore. And with that, he did a lot of sailing. And he had a little 8-foot pram. You know, picture an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, 10-year-old out in a little boat sailing around. And the pictures we have of him just doing that and the memories of that. Yeah, so it's very, very cool. Ryan was successful. Ryan was a kid from an upper middle class, great school, great background, great community, very, very well educated at Shawnee High School. In fact, he went down to Clemson, which is not an easy school, particularly for an out-of-stater, and he did so well. A lot of his other classmates were struggling and all that. So he just glided through. Everybody was naturally attracted to him, and he would kind of go in a party and say, "Hey, you look like you're not having fun. Come on in, join the conversation." Ryan would, make sure everybody's involved. And so Ryan was always going well. He spent his senior year or summer between his junior year and senior year down in Florida, or down in Clemson. And we only saw him, a couple times that year. We did see him for his uncle's wedding in California. He was beginning to look a little bit strung out, and he had lost some weight. I don't think he was eating well. He was working. We didn't really know what was going on, and so it was rather difficult. We saw him. We just thought, well, maybe he's just living the life of a kid who's almost 22 years old. Yeah, that was November 6th, 2011. I was at my brother-in-law's house, and my wife and I were getting ready to sit down with her parents, her brother, wife, family, and I get a phone call. And it's around 5 o'clock in the evening. And the phone call is, "Hi, can I speak to Kevin Engelke?" Speaking. "Hi, this is Dr. So-and-so from Clemson University. I don't know if you've heard or not, but I'm so sorry to tell you that your son has passed away." And I go, "What do you mean?" "Oh, so sorry, he's passed away." And what from? What happened? Car accident, this, that. "We don't know, sir, but he was found by one of his friends at his friend's house on the sofa, and apparently they were partying the night before, and Ryan never woke up. And his friend, around 10 o'clock in the morning, 'Yo, Engelke, wake up, wake up.' It didn't happen. Then he just, okay, fine, he's asleep, and it's now football time. 'Yo, Engelke, time to wake up.' And so, a couple times he tried this, his friend tried this, and then Ryan never responded. Ryan died of a drug overdose of Oxycontins. Did we know that Ryan may go out and drink with his buddies and so forth? Yes, he's a college kid, and I'm not saying it's acceptable. It's not, but he was out there with his friends and doing these types of things. And he was there during the summer, and maybe we were just thinking he wasn't eating well. You know how boys can be. They're just going to go to McDonald's and eat whatever junk food would be. So were we concerned? Yes, but did we even imagine that he would have been into drugs like this? Absolutely not. It floored us. And here we are, we're coming from a decent community. He had a decent upbringing. He was successful in athletics, sports, friends, academics. Everything he touched, he was successful. And now he's gone. At that point, my wife stepped in and she talked to the doctor because I'm a little shook up at this point, obviously. And so she takes down all the notes and that type of thing. I go to my wife, I go, Janet, we need to talk to everybody. So the very first thing I did, I called Ryan's mother. And that was a very, very difficult conversation. Yes, we were divorced, but I got the phone call. We have to communicate with each other. We have to make it work. And so we did that, and the deal was she was going to come up to our house, because I live in Hamilton, which is maybe about 40 minutes from Medford. And so she came up, and now we're getting ready to do the next step. In the meantime, I called my mother. Now, my mother being as close to Ryan as anybody, and Ryan being as close to my mother as anybody. You talk about a tragic, tragic time. She didn't go crazy. She was very, stoic about it. But we know it hit her because, later on, we were just kind of talking, and Ryan meant a lot to her. Now, Ryan's mother is coming up to Hamilton, and remember, Kristen, Ryan's sister, is in Quinnipiac. Quinnipiac University is up in Connecticut, about 3.5 hours away. So we needed to go up and tell Kristen. And so we get in touch with Kristen's coach, and we say this is going on, that type of thing. So, sorry. So we get up to Quinnipiac, and the coach has set up that this is where Kristen is, and she's got a couple of her friends. And so we knock on the door, we talk to Kristen. Now this is in front of all Kristen's friends. Hang on just a second. Kristen's coach had arranged to have a lot of Kristen's friends there. The coach was standing by. And so you can imagine talking to Kristen with all her friends around in a dorm room, saying that her brother just passed away. Kristen's with her closest friends, and Kristen's with her coach, so she had a lot of support. But it was just one of those things. The most difficult thing I've ever done is to tell Kristen, Ryan's sister, that Ryan had passed away. And again, we didn't know what from or whatever, but it was a very, very difficult time. Today, just now, coming into Shawnee to record this, I ran into one of Ryan's buddies. You know him as Mr. Tama. Nick and Ryan grew up in Tamarack together. They were 1 year apart, and they were buddies. And Mr. Tama, Nick was asking me, because his younger sister is friends with Kristen. Hey, how's Kristen doing? How's she enjoying Boston? Does she like her work and all that? And we were able to share. I asked him about his life, about his sister, about his mother, all this. And I know Nick wanted to ask about Ryan, but the only thing he can do is say, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear about Ryan." He didn't say that because a lot of people feel funny about that. Here he is, Nick Tama, a former student of Shawnee High School, a teacher here who knows Ryan, and he's impacted. And Ryan doesn't have that opportunity to say, "Hey, how's Nick doing? He's got how many kids now? And he's living where? He's doing what?" Ryan hasn't had that opportunity to ask Nick, and Nick doesn't have the opportunity to ask Ryan, "Hey, what are you doing? You married yet? How's your job?" All this kind of stuff, and that's sad. Losing a friend, you can't do that. Hey guys, Ryan passed away of a drug overdose 6+ years ago. He's just like you. He is you. He's Shawnee High School graduate, going to a good school, coming from a good family and a great community. He made a couple decisions that were not good. And guys, it could happen to you. Look to your left, look to your right. There's the three of you. Chances are one of the three of you are going to be involved either directly or indirectly through drug use. It could be you, it could be a family member, it could be your best friend, it could be a cousin. But it's that first step. It's saying, well, I can do anything because I'm invincible. I'm 18 years old, I'm 19 years old, I'm 20 years old, or I'm 17 years old. I got the world right where it counts. If I could take you, or your friends, or your neighbors, or your siblings and say, I saw this guy in a video, and he lost his son because of a drug overdose, and he doesn't want us to do it. And you just move from there and say, I'm going to reconsider this. I feel that's a good thing. It's never fun to lose a friend or a child, but on behalf of Ryan, make the right decision. Don't do what Ryan did. And be here, celebrate the life of Ryan and what he's done. All the good things and the influence he could have on you.